Okay, we're up to Chaf Hey Amud Aleph. Yeah. So right off the bat, we start with an interesting story. Sabi the Nazunya. So the older people from Nazunya, like also Lepirke de Rav Chisda, they did not come to the shir of Rav Chisda. Amalei Rav Hamnuna. So Rav Chisda said to Rav Hamnuna, Zil Tzaneinu, go hide them. Meaning, I don't know if this is a cherem exactly, right? It seems like it's a cherem. Rashi says, lock them in their houses. Yeah. Okay, it's a nidui. Rashi does say it's a nidui. It's a lashon of nidui. And they don't want to make the chachamim, they don't want to embarrass them by putting them out of town. So they just tell them to put them under house arrest. Right? Again, because they didn't show up to Rav Chisda shir. Azal, Amr Lahu, so he went and asked them, my time also Rabbanon the Pirka, why didn't you guys come? Why didn't the Rabbanon come to the shir from Rav Chisda? Amr Leah, my nasi. Why should we go? The Bina Mine Milsa. We asked him a question. He didn't answer us. So if we ask him questions, he doesn't answer us. So why should we go to the shir? So Amalahu, that's why in this shir we let everybody ask questions, right? So that they come. Yeah. So Amalahu, so he said to them, Mi be'isu minai midi. So this is where it's interesting. So Rav Hamnuna said, did you ever ask me anything? I didn't answer you. Like, what does one have to do with the other? Right? They're tining on Rav Chisda. These elders are tining on Rav Chisda that he didn't answer them. So Rav Hamnuna, who was the shliach, says, "Did I ever not answer you?" So what is it's apples and oranges? Okay. So Bamine, so then they said, we're going to ask you a question. Yeah. Evet shesarsu rabbi b'beitzim mao. So again, we're going off yesterday's sugya of that there's 24 limbs that if it gets busted by the owner, then the evet goes free. So what about the beitzim? Right? What happens if his testicles get busted? Is that meaning is that considered an external part of the body, or do you say no? The testicles are covered. You don't see them. So is this considered part of the external part of the body? Right? Kimum shabagali dami, is it like a mum shabagali, meaning it's revealed? Or is it not? So lo have a biyade. Rav Hamnuna didn't have an answer. Amrullah, so they said to him, Mashemecha, what's your name? Amrullah, he said to them, Hamnuna. So Amrullah, they told him, Lav Hamnuna, Ella Karnuna. You're not Hamnuna, you're Karnuna. Rashi says that you're like Yoshev Kronos, meaning like you're a letz. You're not. You're a joke. That's basically what they're saying. You're a joke. You couldn't answer this question. You're a joke, right? These Sabi. These were tough characters, whoever they were, right? Yeah. So Tais is a little different shot. That it doesn't mean that that he was a joke. Fine. Also, coming to Rav Chisda, Rav Hamnuna came to Rav Chisda. Amalei masnisa bo minach. Right? All they asked you was a question from a brisa. The Tanan Eser Baba Rashi Avarim Shabadim. This 24 Rashi Avarim Shabadim. Kulan ein matame mishum michya. They all don't become tamei from a michya. Right? Now a michya is a type of tsaras. Right? But the basic din with it is you have to wait, like with every tsaras, you have to wait and see if it's going to be turned into a real tsaras, right? So, but the only thing is that the tsaras has to be able to be seen in one, how do you call it? In one look. Meaning if it's on the edge of any part, any limb in the body, where you can't see the tsaras at the same time, so then it's not counted. So like at the end of the finger, maybe, but if it's big enough that the only way to see it is to turn the finger, right? Or anything else, then that's not considered a michya. So, and basically it's the same 24 limbs that an evet goes out is the same 24 for a michya. Right? So what are the Ve'eleim Rashi Etzbais? right? The tops of the fingers and of the toes. Rashi Eznaim, the ears. Rashi Achaitim, the nose. Rashi Agvia, the aver, right? Rashi Dadim Shabeisha, a woman's breasts. And Rabbi Yudaimer, Af Shabe'ish, even a man's breast. It's an interesting machlokes whether by a man it could be out or not, right? Meaning the point is that all these things pointy enough that you can't see the whole thing at one time, right? Vatani Allah, bekulam eved yoytze ben lecheres, meaning it's the same qualification. If it's part of the body you can't see at once, so then it can't have that saras. And if it's and the same qualifications if an Eved gets injured. So Rabbi Omer Afasirus, Rabbi added even Sirus. Now Sirus means, how do you say Sirus? Sirus is
castration.
Castration. There you go. Thank you. Right? Ben Azai Omer Afaloshan. Ben Azai says even a tongue, right? Because the tongue is pointy, but it's hidden inside the mouth. Now Rashi points out here, what happened to Shane and Ayin? Shane and Ayin were the two major ones. Through this whole list, it doesn't say Shane V'ayin. So Rashi says, yeah, that's Pasha. Shane V'ayin is a Beferish of Pasuk, so it doesn't have to say that. Right? Yeah. Good. So now we're saying Rebbe says even Sirus, and Benazi says even a tongue. So Mar, Rebbe Omer Afa Sirus Demai. Now, what is Rebbe talking about? Again, remember, we're trying to figure out if the Beitzim, damaged Beitzim, will let the Eved go free, right? That's what we're trying to prove from here. So Rebbe says even Sirus Demai. What do you saw? Castration. Elaim Sirus the Gid. If it's talking about the Gid, his aver fell off. If when Peretz listens, I'm sure he'll have a reference to this. If he would be on now live, he would have a reference to this, right? Elaim Sirus the Gid. Hainu Gvia. That's we already said the aver. Right? Elalav, Sirus the Beitzim. Must be Sirus the Beitzim. Right? So you see, it's a machlokes tanoim. So what these elders asked Rav Hamnuna was actually a fairish brayso machlokes tanoim. Fine. So that's it. So then the Gemara goes into the machlokes. Rebbe Amafa Sirus. Rebbe says even Sirus. So the Rebbe Lashon Loi. Rebbe holds that a tongue is not enough. If a Eved loses his tongue, he doesn't go free. Or a minol ask you stira harei mishah yemazeh. Right, now there's something called paradum, as we all know, and it's mechatos. So basically, somebody's tamei on the third and seventh day has to have this mechatos mixed together with the ashes sprinkled on his body. Right, so it has to be on a part of the body that's also revealed. So now we're going to ask a kasha from that. So somebody who is he's spritzing the blood, the whole mixture on somebody who's tummy benitza hazah al piv, and it went onto his mouth. Right, the person who was tummy got the mechatos went onto his mouth. So Rebbe Yomer Hiza, that's enough, and he's good to go. It's not. It doesn't work. My love al l'shoina. When it says mouth, isn't it talking about his tongue? Right? So we say, lo, it doesn't mean on his tongue. Meaning, and then therefore, why would Rebbe says that it works, the hazah works. So then why wouldn't he hold that an Eved goes free for that? So we say, lo al svasav, doesn't mean his tongue, it means on his lips. So al svasav, pshita, al svasav, that's an outer part of his body. Why shouldn't the sprinkling work if it goes on his lips? So when it answers mouth, the same as zimna, the cholim svaseh. Sometimes a person, because when the guy is sprinkling things on you, so you want to close your mouth so it doesn't go into your mouth. So sometimes he might, how do you call it when you make your lips like this? Right? You clamp
your mouth shut.
Right, yeah, you clamp your mouth closed, so maybe that would not be considered open, meaning the lips can sometimes fold in, right, and be closed. Right? So Kamash Malon. So the chiddush is that's still considered that it's okay. Fine. So we have a teretz for that. Oh, but Tanya al we have a brisa that says beferish on his tongue. But Tanya, we have another brisa. This is talking about a bechor with a mum. Right. So the din with a bechor, a bechor animal that has a mum. So if it has a mum, the kohen gets to keep it, shecht it, and use it, right? So if most of the tongue was taken out, yeah, Rebbe Omer Roiv Hamidaber Shabla Shoiner. It has to be most of the tongue that speaks, right? So, which is obviously a cow doesn't speak. Rachamim Yemaskim, a cow does not speak. L'chayra, right? So,
Don't speak back.
okay, there you go. Right, so a cow doesn't speak. So what does it mean? It means that we're the same part of the tongue where a human speaks. That's what it means. Whatever it is, you see that Rebbe clearly holds that the tongue can make a mum. So shouldn't he also hold that a tongue would let the Eved go free? So they want to change this pshat. Ella, Rebbe Omer Sirus, when Rebbe says that Sirus, castration, also allows the Eved to go free, the loim mi bai lashon, and you don't even need to say the tongue, right? For sure, the tongue. Meaning, when Rebbe says Sirus, he doesn't mean only Sirus, he means Sirus, and for sure the tongue. And Benazai Omar, lashon, Benazai says the tongue, aval Sirus loy, but castration not. Umay af, and what does af mean? So he says af Sirus, af lashon. Sounds like he's going on again. The order of the brisa was it brought the 22 things down. Right? Then Rebbe said even Sirus, and then Ben says even Lashon. And now we're saying when Ben says even Lashon, he didn't say even Lashon, he meant just the tongue, and Sirus not. Okay, so what's the Af? So Af is going on Kamaisa, meaning the Af is not going on Rebbe. It's going on the first 22 cases. So then it says, okay, then put Ben Azai first. When you're writing this brisa, you have the Tanakh says these 22 things. Then you have Ben Azai who says castration. Then put Rebbe who says not only is a tongue okay, but even castration. Why don't you put it in that order instead of putting Rebbe first and then Ben Azai? So what it says, Tana Shamal the Rebbe. The Tana heard Rebbe's shot first, the cover, and he put it into the Mishnah. Then Shamal the Ben Azai, and then he heard Ben Azai shita, so he added it in the Tani, and then he put it in. Mishnah and he didn't want to change the order. Why? Because he was already the Tana was already teaching this Mishnah as the first 22, and then Shitas Rebbe, and then they added on Ben Azai. If he would flip it, it would throw everybody off. So he kept it like that. Bottom line is we have a machlokes in the Mishnah whether if a Eved gets castrated, whether he goes free or not. Fine.
Ultimately, according to Rebbe, there's 29 Rosh Hashanah, not 24.
How do you get to 29?
Well, Shen V'ayin, that's another 3. That's already 27.
No, Shane Vayan is included in the 24, isn't it?
Not included in the 24.
It's not. I thought it was. I didn't bother counting.
10 fingers, 10 toes, the ears, that's 22. The nose, and what was the other one? The
Ava, the Ava.
That's 24.
Well, machlokes with the breasts.
That's 26.
Yeah,
Possibly
you're right.
28.
Yeah, I didn't even bother counting, but yeah.
Ken Lyon's another 3. That's already 32. Then you have the Lushan is 33 and Cirrus is 34, according to Rabbi.
I hear.
There's another 10 we just added.
Okay, there you go. Now, what's the gematria?
Dal.
Leave.
What? I hear. Okay, fine. Omar Ula. Akol Maidim B'Lashon. Everybody is Maida that by a tongue, Linian Tumah, that by Tumah, in order for somebody to become Tummy, the tongue is considered the Giluyu Eitzel Sheretz. It's considered revealed by Sheretz. Right? I don't know what this guy was doing, but he stuck his tongue out of Sheretz, a dead Sheretz, and then he's going to become Tummy. Right? Because something revealed has to, in order for somebody to become Tummy, something revealed has to touch him. So if he stuck his tongue out of the dead Sheretz, he becomes Tummy. My timer. Torah says he has to touch it. A tongue is also a bar negiah. Right? This tongue, you could stick the tongue outside of the body, and it can touch.
Well, why does
It
that
needs-
make Galui? Why do we care about Galui? The pasuk is Gzeres HaKasav. He needs Asher Yigaboy. That's it. It needs Nagia.
Right, so that's what it's saying.
What does
You
it have to do
can't
with Galui and
you
Tum?
can't do well, you can't do gully unless you can't touch anything unless it's gully, right?
Yeah, but why do we need Galui and Tum? Where do they come into the Parsha Kumashratzim?
What I'm saying. I'm not even sure what a case is not gully. I guess if a sheretz gets stuffed up his nose, let's say,
Or yeah,
but it can't touch the outside of the nose. A guy's sleeping and you drop a sheretz. You throw a sheretz down up his nose. You shove a sheretz up.
It happened 2 years ago. A snake crawled up someone's toilet in Florida and went straight up. That didn't touch any aver. Went inside him.
What?
Yeah, it can happen.
Um,
Yeah, it goes into a base of starim without touching a Rosh aver.
Right.
But-
But that's the way you define it.
Define what? But why does it need Goli? The pasuk says Asher Yigaboy. He has to touch it. Who cares whether it's Goli or Seser?
Because if you touch it inside his nose, that doesn't work.
Why not?
Because that's the way the Chachamim are learning touching. I don't know why. Where they come up with gully, I don't know, but that's their definition of gully. That's a definition of yiga is through gully. Where they got it from, I'm not even gonna. If I understand the Gemara, finally, I'm just gonna take it that gully means yiga means gully. No, but anyway, so he's saying. So you see that the tongue is a bar negia. So in tefillah kitamano, but for tefillah, it's considered hidden, right? This comes up a lot. Yeah. So since for tefillah it's considered hidden, water does not have to get on the tongue, right? So when somebody goes to the mikveh, they don't have to open their mouth and wag their tongue so that the water gets all over the tongue. My timer. It says varachat basar b'mayim. It says washes basar and mayim. Ma basaroi me'avroi. Right. This is right. This basar is on the outside. Avkol me'avroi. So too. Only the outer limbs need to have water touch them. The inner limbs do not. Right? So le'nechluku elinin hazah. The machlokes is by hazah. Rebbe says it's like tuma, and therefore hazah on the tongue is going to be okay. Rabbanan medamilul tvila, and the Rabbanan look at it like tvila, so therefore the tongue is considered hidden, and sprinkling on the tongue will not work. So okay, what's the machlokes? With the Bahai Krokamibligin, they're having a machlokes in this pasuk. The hiza hator al atame. The hiza. I have to read the whole pasuk here. If anybody has the pasuk on the side of the Gemara, it'd be helpful. The pasuk says, "V'hiza hator al atame b'yom hashlishi." Right, the tar sprinkles on the tummy on the third day, or b'yom hashri on the seventh day. The chitoi, and then he becomes tahar. B'yom hashri v'chibes begada v'rochatz b'mayim v'tar ba'aret. Right, so you see that there's hazah in the beginning of the pasuk, and the end of the pasuk there's tefillah. So the question is, which way do we push the middle of the pasuk? To the hazah, to the tuma, or do we push it to the tahara? So Rebbe says you sprinkled on the tar, the star sprinkles on the tame, the v'chita. Rabbanan sari v'chito b'yom hashvi v'chivus begada barachatz b'mayim. Right, he becomes pure on the seventh day, and then you wash him up and in the water. So that's meaning the Rabbanon compare it to the second part, to the rechitza and the tefillah, right? And Rebbe compares it to the tar tummy part. Okay, but Rabbanon nami nidmi l'tuma. How come the Rabbanon don't want to compare it to tuma? So we're going to say pasha tahara mitara havalei l'melech. We're talking about something becoming tar. Mikvah is something becoming tar, and hazah is becoming tar. So we'd rather compare tar to tar than tar to tummy. Okay, for Rebbe nedami l'tfila, why don't you compare it to tfila? V'chivas begadav hifsik inyan, because the word v'chivas begadav makes a hefsik. Fine. Okay, so that's it. We have a machlokes whether hazah, whether the tongue works for that or not. Yeah. So the Saba Rebbe leaning Tefillah Katamandami. Does Rebbe hold that for Tefillah the tongue is considered hidden? Amar Ravin, Amar Rav Ada, Amar Rav Yitzchak, Ma'aseh b'shivcha shel beis Rebbe. There was a story with a shivcha beis Rebbe. Shetavla va'alsa. She was toivel and she got up and nimtza etzem ben shinan. She found a bone between her teeth. Tzricha Rebbe Tefillah acheres. And Rebbe required another Tefillah. Right? She had something stuck in her teeth, so she had to go back to the mikveh. Why is she going back to the mikveh for? We said that the water doesn't have to hit inside the mouth, right? This comes up. This shiloh comes up a lot with that's when a woman has something stuck in her teeth after the mikveh. It's a shvara shiloh. So the Gemara answers nehita bs mayim lo beinon. Yes, you're right. You don't need water to go into the mouth, but makom haroi lavoi by b'mayim beinon. A makom for it to come in, you need. Meaning, you have to have the ability for the water to get there. The water doesn't have to actually get there, but it has to have the ability. So therefore, you have a chatzitza inside the mouth. There's no potential for the water to ever get there. So since there's no potential for the water to get there, the mikvah, the tefillah is no good. Right? Kidur Abzeira. Damer Abzeira, Kol Roy Labila, Ain Bila Ma'keves Boy. V'She'ena Roy Labila, Bila Ma'keves Boy. So this is talking about, yes, carbon mincha. And you have to bring 60 isarons of flour, right? And you mix it in a bowl. Not 61. If you do 61, you can't mix it in the bowl properly. So therefore, it's no good, right? But the kasha the Gemara asks there, but you don't have to mix. We know that even if the flour doesn't get mixed, it's still okay, the carbon. So why can't I put in 61? Again, you can't put in an extra sarum because when you put too much stuff into the bowl, then you can't mix it properly. So when it says, well, you don't have to mix it. You're supposed to mix it. If it wasn't mixed, it's fine. So what's the problem? So he says, no, it has to be roy to be mixed. Even though it's not actually mixed, it has to be roy to be mixed. Yeah. So that's sort of like getting into the elitist yeshivas. You have to be roy to get in. Whether you're going to actually learn in that yeshiva is immaterial. You just have to have the pedigree to get in, right? Yeah. Gershon, too bad Elio Ikovic is not on, but yeah, as long as you have the pedigree, then you're okay. If you can learn all you want, if you don't have the pedigree, you can't get into our yeshiva. I don't know if I should talk like that before Rosh Hashanah. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Why
so,
they do?
Two wrongs don't make a right? Yeah. Anyways, so
what you're talking about would be very much masking with what you're saying. So it's not lashon hara.
I hear. Okay, very good. So kitanoi on Talmud Beis now. Yeah, kitanoi. It's a machlok. So now that's the end of that sugi with the mouth. Fine. So kitanoi was saying this of whether the now Zev comes on. It's a good thing we got that one out before he got on. Yeah. The beitzim, whether the beitzim is considered a external limb and therefore the eved goes free is actually machlokas tanoim, because it says umoch v'kotos v'nosuk v'korus. This is talking about an animal, right? That if they have these issues, you can't be mocked of them. So it says if it's these are different lashonos of the testicles being smashed and cut and whatever it is. So kulan bebeitzim. When it says that in the Torah, that's all referring to testicles. They're Rabbi Yehuda. The beitzim, Gemara says beitzim v'loy begid. You can't crush beitzim, but let's say the actual aver is crushed, it's not a problem. Ella kulan af bebeitzim. They're Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says even bebeitzim. V'liazim Yaakov Aimer kulan begid. They're all talking about a gid. We see Aimer moch v'kotos. Moch v'kotos af bebeitzim. That's talking about even by beitzim. Nosuk v'koros where it's cut. Begid in bebeitzim loy. So we have a machlokes about this whole. So it's a machlokes tanoim. Now, didn't we already say that this was a machlokes tanoim? We already said this is machlokes, right? When from Nuna went back to Rav Chisda, so they asked me this question. He says it's the fairish machlokes tanoim, right? It was machlokes ben Azai and Rebbe on Avad Aleph, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's just the order. Fine.
See, I have the Rishash asked the question. brought down the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And he
Okay.
says the reason why the Gemara picked this is because of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi is being machalik in the different dinim.
Rabbi Yossi is being machalik.
Meaning everyone else is not really mechalik. It's either exposed or it's not exposed. According to Rabbi Yossi, he says there's chilukim. So
I hear.
The Chiddush is Shalosh Machlokes B'Davar.
correct. There's a third
There's
way.
there's an additional opinion. Yeah. Okay, now for the now we're done with Avadim, and now we are into Kinyonim. Right now, for the next 3 blot is Kinyonim, and then we get into Kibbut Avim next week, Bez Hashem. So, okay, Zok the Mishnah. How are you kind of right now? The reason why we're getting into this is because we were talking about being kind of, well, we started with being kind of a wife. Then we went to being kind of an Eved. Now we're talking about being kind of animals, and right now animals, and then the next Mishnah will be property. So Behema Gasa, a Behema Gasa, those are large animals. Niknis ben Masira, they could be kind of with Masira. You're kind of that with Masira. Masira means you hand them over. Right? Now, okay, what's that? Hadaka, but thin animals, that's like Rachamim had 3 this week. Mamash and Yonah the Yoima. Yeah, Hadaka, the Hagba. Right? So Hadaka is you mean they're small animals, so you can be kind of them by picking them up. Right? So now there's a big machlokes Rashi Tosfos here. Which one is Masira? Is Masira? Where does Masira come in with Mashicha? So the way Rashi understands it is that Masira by a Behema Gasa works, pulling a Behema Gasa will not work. Right? And Tosfos disagrees. That's that big Tosfos there that enables us to have a short daf, right? We try and make the rule that whenever we have a big Tosfos that shortens the daf for us, we have to be makatov, and we have to at least say what the Tosfos is talking about. So that's what that big Tosfos is talking about, and he's disagreeing with Rashi, and he's saying that it could be even. Okay, but anyway,
does that mean that the real the koina to pick up the animal is the best, but it's just that the animal is too big?
Well,
I mean, we're saying that kind of really to pick up anything is kind of is usually right. Just this animal's too big. So why would we think otherwise?
You want to, yeah. Well, you can't pick it up, which the Gemara is going to discuss in a minute. Correct.
Right, but so of course that's not the best, better kind of.
Hagbah is not Mashicha. Right. Yeah,
okay,
Rashi
so
said the reason
what's better.
No, but Rashi says Mashicha doesn't work because it's not the derech to be Moshech these animals. Either way, there's 2 machlokes Rashi does. The second Tosfos is what is Mashicha you're not koina. That's what Rashi holds. Tosfos holds the opposite. The first Tosfos is talking about what's Masira. So Rashi says you hand over the reins of the animal, and that's Masira. Tosfos says you don't even have to do that. As long as the purchaser just pulls the animal, you don't have to actually hand it over to him, the reins. Okay.
Does he have to pull it, or could he just hold the reins?
Sounds like he just holds.
I'm saying, obviously, and this has to be in his own reshus, like Mashicha?
No, I think it could be in anybody's reshus.
Then it's as good as Hagbah, according to Tosfos? Or anyone?
It sounds like it.
But where do you see him bringing it into his own reshus at that point? By Masira.
The main thing that's saying it doesn't.
That's why it's in your own reshus. If Masira works even in the Baal's reshus or the original Baal's reshus, how does he bring it into his own reshus? He's in somebody else's reshus.
Maybe in just his hands.
But he's not. It's not really.
He controls it.
I don't know. Main thing Tosfos' point is that Masira doesn't have to be miyad liyad. Normally, Musar to hand over means you give it from one hand to another. That's what Rashi says. Tosfos says doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be.
Whoever's controlling the animal is in control of the animal. Right, but so of course the animal is too big. So why would we think otherwise?
You don't have to hand it over.
animal is in control of the animal.
So you're saying so it should work.
Yeah, because I'm saying that's the whole way you can use an animal. Whoever's in control has the power.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, very good. So again, Nacham all the mission. Behema Gasa Niknas ben Masira. Behema Gasa is kind of ben Masira. Vadaka behagba. And a thin one, you pick it up. Divir Amei, Divir Amei, Rebel Yes. Rav Chama Behema Daka Niknas ben Mashicha. Behema Daka, you could be kind of with Mashicha. Right? Meaning, and Hagba for sure, right?
Maybe it's don't we pay more or less kafel for behemoth daka or something because it's embarrassing?
What do we pay kefil?
You pay less. You
dollar-
pay four times
dollar
because you
behave.
picked it up and you ran with it. Right, dollar because of big. What's it called? You pay you pay less because you were
Because you-
embarrassed by picking it up.
Right.
So maybe that's where this comes in.
Maybe.
That you don't pick it up. Maybe
maybe.
it's Mashiach.
Yeah.
Gershon
Maybe.
look like I'm crazy. It's a little bit of a svara, not crazy.
Oh yeah. No, I hear. But anyways, okay, but it's a machlokes anyways. Rashi and Taisa whether Mashiach is better than Masira. Okay, fine. So let's see the Gemara. Darash Rav Bikim Chunya Behema Gasa Niknas b'Mashiach. Rav Darshan that a Behema Gasa is kind of a Mashiach. That's not like our Mishnah, right? So Ashkachinu Shmuel the Talmid the Rav. Shmuel found Talmid the Rav. Amar Lu, he said to them, "Bi Amar Rav Behema Gasa Niknas b'Mashiach." Did your Rebbe say that Behema Gasa is in Mashiach v'anan b'Masira Tanan? We learned it in Masira. But Rav Nami Masira Amar. And Rav also said it. Hadar Be'me'ahiv, did he change his mind? So the Gemara answers, no. Who Damar Kiyatana, the Tanya, Rav went like a different Tana. The Tanya, Chachamim, Zu v'Zu, Niknas and Mashiach. We have two more opinions here. According to the Chachamim, you can be kind of large animals and small animals with Mashiach. Shimon Omer, Zu v'Zu b'Hagba. You can do both the Hagba. Okay, so how are you picking up an animal? Yeah, Naftali Landa, where you picking? How are you picking up the animal according to Reb Shimon? Oh, so Maskal Reb Yosef Elabayata pill. What? Elabayata pill. The Reb Shimon Bamei Yikna. How you being kind of an elephant? Right? You obviously can't lift up an elephant. So Abaya b'chalipin. Rabbi says, okay, so you do chalipin, right? You give him a pen and you take not the elephant. You give the owner a pen and you swap it back. You rent the place that the elephant is standing in, and that's an agav. Once you rent him the place, or chatzar, kinyan chatzar. Maybe arba kalim manicha tachas raglim. You take 4 kalim like they used to do in the circus. It's interesting. He said to bring 4 kalim, right? In the circus, they would put them on one kli, no? He'd put all 4, right? Back when they allowed elephants in the circus, they put all 4. Seems like the Gemara didn't think that they had that capability, which comes into something. We'll get to that in a minute, but 1 second. Maybe that's sort of like picking them up. That's Hagbah. So Gemara asks first, and we had this, I don't remember where we had this. Do we hear from this that Kalim of the Lekeach, meaning normally the Lekeach, the purchaser, brings stuff into his property, like he was saying this before, and that he's kind of. But what happens if he puts it into a Kli that's in the property of the seller? So then what? Does that work or not? So obviously we're learning here that Kalim shel Lekeach b'reshus meicher kana Lekeach. So when it says no, that's not the case. So talking about where the elephant was in an alleyway. So obviously it has to be a very large alleyway. So it was in an alleyway that's not Rosh Hashanah and not Rosh Hashanah, so it's middle ground. So therefore he could do that. I'm talking about Aleph, Inami, Bechaviles Myris, or you put bundles of vines on the floor, and the elephant went on top of that. So that's considered it goes 3 tvachim, and that's considered a hagbah. Right? Okay. So then we'll extracurricular. I meant to look this up and I forgot. Is there a thing in science that elephants can't jump? No, really?
Yes.
I must have
I don't
missed
know if
that
it's
day.
scientific. There's an idea.
I feel like
It's
there's a
said
joke
that
coming
elephants can't jump.
No, it's
I
not
don't
a
know if
joke.
it's something you'd have to Google.
I meant to Google it today and I forgot. Because I know there's something in the Metzias where they say that elephants can or can't jump, and halacha says that it could or one of the two. How come here we don't just make the elephant jump?
Never heard of the Barnum and Bailey search?
According to Google, elephants are the only mammals that can't jump.
No, so this morning we were talking about this.
Yeah, Google says no.
No, it says no.
They don't
to
have
jump.
the spring in their step to pull them.
But they say
up.
rhinos can't
Come on.
jump either.
I'm
Depends
not,
on the
I'm
jump
not
leg.
jumping anymore
The
either.
bones in the elephant legs are pointed downwards, which means they don't have the spring required to push off the ground.
So we were. I was learning Chavrusa this morning. We had this shaila, and he looked on the bottom of the Masifta, and it said that animal. Why is it dafka? Wheat. What is it? Hay, wheat, because not a stone, because it will encourage the elephant to go up. If you put them, he's going to want to eat it. So if you put hay instead of the stone, he'll move. Is that what you were asking? Was I?
No. Well, the point is, and Tysus talks about it. What kind of kinyan is this? So you're putting the elephant on top of straw. What's the kinyan?
You're helping him move.
Well, Rashi says a very funny way. Rashi says you're removing it from Loved, which is like, I always assumed Hagbah is an Indian of Kinyan Yad. Rashi seems to just completely go off track here when he talks about Loved over here. Nothing to do with Kinyan Yad. I thought some type of,
It's like a Masira. It's like a Masira.
Okay,
no, it's much stronger than Masira.
Okay,
Why?
so here.
Why? Because it's going
Yad,
higher.
it's
That's why it's
Yad is the
better.
best Kinyan.
Let's hear what Tziyakov has to say.
I'm not saying anything. I'm going to say over Tosfos. If you go, Tosfos says, and it's I don't know what Masifta was going on. Maybe they were going on the Tosfos. Tosfos says, the reason why, because Tosfos says, why do you have to put straw? Why not put rocks or anything else? Why does it have to be straw? So Tosfos says you give him straw because it eats straw, and basically what you do is you tease it, and you make it jump after the straw, and that's Hagbah. You make it that's Tosfos, right?
But is that Hagbah or is that having the reins like we said before? Because you're controlling.
No. You're not doing that.
You are, because you're getting him to do what you want. Just like you're taking the reins.
No, that's not what it says, though. It says you're not making him a rein out of straw. You're holding up the straw, and he's going to jump, and you're causing it to jump, and that's Hagbah. The problem is science says that elephants can't jump. So this
it could be Masira. Why can't it be Masira?
Because we're trying to figure out, according to Reb Shimon, how would you get Hagbah by Behema Gas?
Science
that's what we're trying to figure out.
Science also says that you don't have a Gamla Parka, but the Gemara talks about it. So
true. You're 100% right. All I'm saying, I heard this from Rabbi Saul Reisman. I don't remember where I heard it, when I heard it. He said that this is one of those things that science is against. A Tosfos. Tosfos is against what
maybe
science
it doesn't really mean
says.
jump. Maybe it just means like he moves his body to get to the hay.
Then that's no Hagbah.
That's Rashi.
Hey, it goes a little higher. I'm saying it doesn't jump.
Right. Keep it right. It's Rashi. If you're going, it has to jump. That's what he's saying. It's jumping. Whatever it is, we can stop the daf here. Those that want to sign off. This is one of those things where Tosfos seems to be against science.